There's a big series here. Let's talk to the personal trainer of Stephen Curry and the founder of Accelerate Basketball. He's been good to the program. He loves his hoops, and I just wonder how he watched Game 7 and his boy dropping 50. Brandon Payne joins the Morning Roast here on 95.7 The Game. Of course, he's Stephen Curry's personal trainer, founder of Accelerate Basketball. He works out more than just Steph Curry. He works out players from all over the country, high school, college, NBA, you name it. Brandon, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on such short notice here. So Game 7 happens, and Curry drops 50. And the most impressive part of his performance to me, BP, was the way he finished around the hoop, the soft touch, and his strength. He's gotten so much stronger over the years. What was the most impressive aspect of that Game 7 when he dropped 50 against the Kings for you, BP?
I mean, to me, the most impressive aspect of the fact that you're doing it in a Game 7 where you've got, it's a winner-go-home situation, and, your back's against the wall, and if you don't perform, you're done. So, I mean, just the pressure of that alone. But, when you've got the playoff experience that he has at this point in his career, and you've got the command over the game that he has, and the ability to control the defenders in front of you, the ability to score at all three levels, you make yourself very hard to guard. And he was certainly extremely difficult to guard, and he was also very aggressive. And, that aggressiveness is very difficult to handle when he's coming downhill at you the way he is. If he's got the ability to pull up from three, he can get into the mid-range and score, and he's obviously gotten so good with his footwork and his body control around the basket that he can score at the rim almost at will now. So it was a very difficult thing for the Kings to handle, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And, I was proud, as his career is progressing here, I'm learning to really appreciate and stay present in the moment during the playoffs. I think we took it for granted a little bit early, when we were going to the finals every year for 5 straight years. So I'm really trying to stay present and enjoy every game as much as I possibly can now.
That Game 7, it was so different than the way he plays normally because he dribbled more in that game than he has in 10 years. It felt like it was a much more pick and roll heavy, and obviously he was attacking the rim and whatnot. But like for a guy that is so lethal off ball and moves so much off ball, it was great to see him kind of take a Harden-esque, Luka Doncic-esque approach to that particular game and be like, yeah, if I wanted to play this way, this is what I could do. I don't know. I felt that kind of way watching it. What did you think?
Well, I think you have to look at it kind of two ways. I mean, number one, he wanted to really control the ball and be in control of winning that basketball game. But number two, you also have to give the Kings a lot of credit. Defensively, when he gave the ball up in that series, they had a no-help rule. They were sticking with him as tight as they possibly could. So there was no potential help, when he was moving. A lot of times teams, as the ball's on one side of the floor and as players move to the other side, they kind of stick right outside the lane there because they got to be in a help position. Even with him in the game, they do that. The Kings, especially with Mitchell, went strictly no help. So when he gave the ball up, he was stuck to him, and he was going everywhere he was going. So the off-the-ball opportunities, unless the Kings were making a mistake, just weren't there as often in that series as they have been in the past. So going to a little bit more of a ball screen heavy, a little more of a ball dominant role was going to be the way that he was really going to be able to impact Game 7, not only because he wanted the ball in his hands, but also you have to give the Kings credit for doing things the way they did defensively, making it difficult on them because they did a very good job.
Brandon Payne here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game, founder of Accelerate Basketball, of course, Steph Curry's personal trainer. So what are some of the things you guys have done over the years to get Curry to be stronger? Because that was one aspect of his game, I guess, early on. A lot of people nitpick, well, he doesn't finish around the rim. Well, he's got the soft touch around the rim, but even when he's got that mid-range and he puts his shoulder into somebody, they back off of him. What are some of the things you've done to get him stronger? Because he's as strong as he's ever been.
Well, some of it is physical strength, obviously. I mean, he's gotten older and he's gotten a lot stronger. And he at age 35 is where a lot of players are at age 29 and age 30, 31. When you get to that kind of full-grown, full man strength, he just got there a little bit later, which is actually a benefit to him because it forced us to be very creative from a skill standpoint. It forced us to learn how to use mechanics and learn how to use leverage at an earlier age than maybe he would have had to if he would have been stronger earlier. So now you've got the combination of a very skilled, extremely intelligent basketball player that's combining with a big, strong, fast player, and it's very difficult to handle. And a lot of the things that he does around the rim, he actually sets those moves up right around the elbow nail area. So, we have 3 different drive lines that we work on. We either drive through the elbow, we drive through the area between the nail and the elbow, or we drive through the nail. and we have different footwork we use to control shot blockers based off the drive line that we take. Not only that, he does a really good job of using his shoulder to get into the chest of the defender. So we know that if he can get his shoulder in the middle of the defender's chest, by the time he gets to the free throw line, he's in complete control of that defender, and he's going to be able to score it around the basket using footwork and using creativity. And so there's a lot of thought that goes into it. There's a lot of artificial intelligence style learning that goes into it from game situations. That has allowed us to create a system for him to use to control shot blockers with footwork and body control around the basket.
I mean, clearly he's individually self-driven, Steph Curry, like on the off season and throughout the regular season of maintaining his excellence. But and this is just a little off to the side. How do you think LeBron James has maybe inspired, motivated, pushed Steph Curry over the years in terms of adding elements to his game, or, keeping up with his peer, or trying to push himself beyond someone like LeBron James? Like that has to be a part of what drives him, right?
Of course. I mean, anytime, you want to be a champion, anytime you want to be the best, you have to set your sights on the guys that have been champions and have been the best. And, it's LeBron has been such a physical standard for being a great player for so long. And he does it obviously in a different way than Stephen does. But, once you've tasted being at the top and you've felt being in the finals, and you never want to go back. You always want to be there. And you kind of knew for a long time that LeBron was probably going to be there. That's the guy that, you're kind of having to work against. And that's the guy that you're looking to compete against and beat. And so, while it's not something that we talk about, we really don't talk about other players. It's really, it sounds cliche, but it really is Stephen Curry on Tuesday versus Stephen Curry on Monday for us. In the back of our minds, we know that there are some very special players out there that we have to compete with and beat. And so, even though it's you versus today versus you yesterday, you've got that standard you have to meet and exceed in order to be successful against us. So absolutely the same way that Michael Jordan, before LeBron, was kind of the standard that everybody was working towards to beat. I mean, LeBron's kind of been up there along with some other guys for this generation of players. So it's not just him. There's several other guys too. And so that's also in the back of our mind, but, it's not something we talk about a whole lot. We really try to focus more on us than anybody else.
BP, we always appreciate the time. Last one for you here. How do you see the series playing out? What will be difficult for the Warriors against this Lakers team that's a little bit bigger in size, no doubt about it. And they've played well since the trade deadline. I still have the Warriors winning the series, but what would be the number one challenge for the Warriors in this series against the Lakers?
Well, I think that you just kind of hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, it's not only their size in terms of their height, but they have very good athletic length defensively. You got guys like Vanderbilt and Hachimura out there, and combined with obviously LeBron and Anthony Davis. And then, that length, they can be very creative with how they're defending you with that length. They don't have the on-the-ball speed that Sacramento had. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a different challenge, but you're looking at much longer defenders, and they can use Vanderbilt. I've always loved that kid as a defender. He's so versatile, and he can defend 1 through 5 really very effectively. And so he causes some problems, especially as you get into ball screen actions. So, I think you're going to see a little bit more off the ball action with this group, because anytime you're dealing with length, you want to move the length away from the basketball. You don't want to bring the length to the basketball. So I think you'll see a little bit more traditional Warrior style, kind of 5-out, split action and things of that nature. I think that where Golden State has a decided advantage is on the perimeter. I think guard play heavily favors them. It's all about, if Loon can continue to rebound at this incredible pace that he's been able to play at. And if they're able to play with leverage down low to try to secure rebounds, rebounding is going to be huge in this series. They've got to be able to compete from a rebounding standpoint in order to control these games, and that's where they had trouble in the regular season. Now, they've obviously been better in that first-round playoff series, but, rebounding the basketball, combating that versatile length that they have defensively is going to be really where the Warriors have to win these battles.
Man, really good breakdown. We always get smarter when we talk to you, Brandon. Good stuff as always. Thank you for spending some time with us. We can't wait. Game 1 tonight at Chase Center. Will you be in the Bay Area at any point during the series?
I may be out there at some point during the series, but I'm working on my next champion over here with Scoot Henderson right now. So we're getting him ready for the draft. He's a special player. So I will get out there at some point. But I try to give Steph as much space as he can have in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Scoot Henderson going to be a top 5 pick in the upcoming NBA draft, a special player. Brandon, thanks so much for the time today, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Anytime. BP, founder of Accelerate Basketball, Steph Curry's personal trainer. A lot there. You could